Hello, and welcome to today's reading. Before I get started on the reading, I wanted to first clear the space, clear the area, clear our energies, just so we have a clear mind and everything. And I also have my links down below for my Instagram for more readings that I do, my Etsy for personal readings, and I also have a list of organizations and donations or ways you can help BIPOC communities, including Black and Indigenous lives. Well, that's what BIPOC means, but you know what I mean. And I also have a playlist of a YouTube playlist that streams or that donates its revenue to Black Lives Matter or other organizations that I support. And if anyone knows of any other videos I can add to the list, then feel free to comment that down below and I will add it. So I have some Palo Santo. This is a gift I got from one of my best friends. And also white sage that I'm running low on. This, I'll try to link it down below if I can find it, but I always buy white sage from indigenous sellers. So today's reading, as you can probably guess by the title, is going to be related to shadow work, inner child work, or whatever you call it. Since it is Halloween themed, I wanted to make the title kind of close to as Halloween or spooky as I could get. So as usual, we're going to have 3 piles. Do 5. Pile number 2. I usually do my readings beforehand and I write out what I want to say, but I forgot to do that last night. And I wanted to try out, or I want to practice my intuitive reading. And it's usually because I kind of have trouble knowing what I want to say in like a cohesive and coherent manner, which is why I write things out. Well, you don't usually see it, but I have my photo booth and what I want to say on the split screen. And for those of you guys who wanted to choose with crystals, we have round number 1. Round number 2. We have clear quartz. And number 3 is this orange carnelian. So, as usual, feel free to pick 1, 2, or all 3 of the piles if you want to. Alright, pile number 1. For those of you guys who chose this lapis lazuli piece, start off with, oh, and I also do a lot of clarifications in my readings, so let's see what this is trying to say. Maybe it has to do with going a certain direction. Maybe it feels like this group is kind of holding themselves back, whether it's holding themselves back from doing something or they're holding part of themselves back. Start off with the journey card in reversed here. Okay, so decision card in reversed. Hesitation. Okay, yeah, I really feel like this is about hesitation. Maybe some of you are indecisive of what you want to do, or it feels like some of you are holding yourselves back because you're not sure if the choice you're making is the right choice for you, or if it's something that you should be doing. It's like some of you are weighing your options, or you're kind of looking back to see if you're doing the right thing. But at the same time, because of you hesitating or holding that part of yourself back, that overanalysis paralysis is kind of making you, well, as the term suggests, you're at the same time you're not taking action. So what does that have to do with shadow work? Okay, so it's like some part of you that's preventing you from moving on, whether that's physically or emotionally. I feel like for some of you, it's like your ego is telling you, your ego or your subconscious or your shadow is kind of telling you that if you, it's like it's afraid that if you make the wrong choice that you're going to struggle. If you do the wrong thing, it's going to be worse for you. But that's what your ego is saying, not your higher self. Actually, I want to clarify this one a little bit deeper. Okay, so for some of you also feels like you're not letting go of something. So the Journey card in reversed and the Sun card in reversed, this feels like it's saying that you're hesitating to go in a certain direction or a certain path, and the Sun card is like you holding back your true self or holding back some part of yourself. It could be that some of you don't think that you're capable enough to pursue this, so this could be about self-doubt as well. The Hawk card, I usually see this as someone who's looking over everything, someone who sees the whole picture, the big picture, but in this reading, the smoke behind the hawk is what I'm drawn to. So usually hawks and birds of prey have really good vision, but because the smoke behind them, it's like they only see in one direction. It's like some of you have not tunnel vision, but some of you only see things from one perspective, but you don't see past the smoke here. The Great Bear is equivalent to the Judgment card, but in this reading, this feels like more about taking action and stepping forward. In reverse, the Great Bear, it's like it's coming at you, coming towards you, but in reverse, it feels like it's about hesitating. And the clarification, we have the Moon and Water. The way I read this one sometimes is that the egg in the water, if you haven't seen some of my videos before, I also explained that eggs are actually porous. If you leave them in water, it will actually drown. So this is kind of like saying that your inaction is what's preventing your dreams from coming true. This also reminds me of a Mel Robinson video that I watched, where she said that your fear of failure is actually what's making you fail, because if you don't take the action, you're basically fulfilling this prophecy, or it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of failing because you didn't try in the first place. And then the Fox is about movement, moving on. And the Struggle card, so the Struggle card in relation to the Great Bear feels like, I did say this earlier, but it's like you're kind of afraid of moving on, or you're hesitating to move on because of possible failures that might come in. And the Attraction in reverse, it feels like this is about refusing to letting go of something, or something you can't let go of. It might be a relationship for some of you, or for some of you it could just be something that you're just holding on to for too long. It's like you know that this isn't really good for you, or that this isn't really putting you in the right direction. Moving on to our self-care card and the Sacred Oracle deck, the self-affirmation deck. We have "It's safe for me to feel it all." I feel like this is directly about this one here, about hesitating because of a fear of failure or whatever it is. This is saying that it's better to go through the emotions, go through the process. It's better to learn, even if you feel along the way, even if you run into setbacks. It's better to run into those than not do anything at all. And it's also saying that even if you run into setbacks, or if you run into some failures, then that's not going to be the end of the world. As they put it, that failures are also lessons for us, if we choose to make them lessons. And then we have dance. This could be literal for some of you, but for the most part, I feel like this is about letting yourself, expressing yourself, just letting yourself just be free, run wild, whatever. It's about like not constraining yourself into one thing. You know, process your emotions, let your emotions out. Don't try to hold them. When I have doubts and fears about what I'm doing, I like to channel them out. So that could be another option. But I feel like this is more about energy release than, for the most part. So that was pile number 1. As usual, I have my Etsy down below for personal readings, Instagram for more readings that I usually upload on Sundays, maybe Monday. And that was reading for pile number 1. Move on to pile number 2. Alright, pile number 2. For those of you guys who chose the clear quartz. Random side note, I am interested in learning crystal healing, so I do want to incorporate them into my YouTube videos. I'm actually not sure if you need quote-unquote official training, but that is something that I'm kind of interested in. Just energy healing, crystal healings. Well, actually I did take a class once with a friend. We haven't gone back in a while. So pile number 2. I feel like this is about going into a new direction, maybe a fresh start. Well, not fresh start as in you have to change your life completely or do a 180, but it's... Okay, so I feel like this is about... Sometimes I read this as a card about passion with the heart and the flames, and I feel like after this occurred, the passion for whatever you want to do kind of died, or you kind of... maybe you're questioning it. Since it's been reversed, it's like whatever happened here really affected you in a way that now you're an energy of the ancestor in reverse and the real card in reversed. So the real card in reversed, the way I'm reading this, at least for the context of this reading, is that something unexpected happened, which is again clarifying the Blasted Oak card. And because of this, the ancestor, which I usually read as someone in power or someone in charge, or just someone who's like very, you don't have to be in charge of people, but just in charge of yourself, in charge of your life. I feel like whatever happened here, it kind of like made you less passionate about what you want to do, or made you question about whether this is the right thing or not. Then we have the dedication card in reversed. So this one I'm kind of reading at face value, and it's a continuation of this card. So maybe you lost a passion for what you want to do, or maybe you lost, you know, something for it, and now you're kind of less dedicated to it. And maybe it's not about what passions for what you want to do. Maybe it's about passion for yourself or taking care of yourself. The King of Bows, Adder, I usually see this as, or at least in the context of this reading, I'm seeing this as someone who's facing the problem. So you could be the snake on this high ledge here, and you're finally facing what's down here. I don't mean snake as a bad thing. I like snakes anyways. So yeah, you're finally becoming more grounded at the stage. Some of you could be starting to get into the stage, but some of you, this could be just a word of encouragement saying that if you're still in this energy of self-doubt, or you're kind of not feeling the passion, you're kind of depressed, or you're just not as dedicated to yourself or towards what you want to do, this is saying that eventually that you will find the foundation, you will start to like face these challenges. But remember that tarot is not set in stone, so this is ultimately up to you to do that. And then we finally have Queen of Stones, the bear. So I see this as someone who's looking to a new direction. Doesn't have to be a new path or like a new lifestyle, unless that's what this is leading to. Maybe some of you, for example, maybe some of you lost a job, but now something better is coming along. It could be something like that. But this is, at least for this reading, this is really about you finally seeing past the horizon, seeing new possibilities, seeing better possibilities. Starting to be a little bit more optimistic about yourself. Moving on to the Self-Care and the Sacred Oracle deck. Self-care allows me to fully give to others without expectations. So at surface value, this would mean to, of course, take care of yourself. If you can't take care of yourself, then how are you going to take care of other people? But actually, I don't think there's a deeper meaning to this. I really think this is just face value. Maybe this is saying that some of you are spending more energy on other people than yourself. It could be that as well. But in general, I feel like this is really about just taking care of yourself in general. Especially if you're in this energy, this low energy. And you don't have to put in a lot of energy to do that. Maybe you're just listening to a song, your favorite song, playing a movie to get your mood up. When I'm in that state, I have a playlist on my Spotify that I play for that reason. And we have hydrate, so of course drink plenty of water. I have trouble doing that sometimes. Take care of yourself. I feel like hydrate is also about replenishing yourself. You know, just kind of like cleansing out your system, purifying your system, getting rid of the toxins. Kind of stepping into a new direction. Of course, again, I don't mean, for some of you, it doesn't have to be like a complete 180, but just like a new perspective, or like shifting where you are into like a new direction, if that makes any sense. So that was pile number 2. Hopefully that was coherent enough, as I said before in pile number 1. But anyways, hopefully that message made a lot of sense to you, or made some sense to you. I'm gonna move on to pile number 3. Alright, pile number 3. For those of you guys who chose the orange carnelian. Okay, that's interesting. What is the Ephesus joy trying to say? What is the Ephesus joy trying to say? Okay. I feel like kind of similar to pile number 1. It's like some of this about hesitation, or maybe about showing your true self. Maybe this about being vulnerable. So maybe not about hesitation in some way as pile number 1 if you haven't seen that yet. But maybe more about okay, I'm just gonna use this. What's the cartoon say? It could just be because I'm mentally tired too, and not getting the reading that I want. Which, by the way, my past readings, I would sometimes do 2 piles during the night, and then I would just get tired and do the next pile in the morning, if that wasn't obvious, because of the change in lighting. Okay, so I'm gonna take a break from this one, and then come back to it later. But for the most part, for right now, it kind of feels like it's a little bit about hesitation. Maybe there's something about showing your, maybe being vulnerable, or maybe like taking power, being in charge. But I don't feel like it's the same hesitation in group number 1 as in going in a certain direction. It could be about speaking up. Yeah, okay. So I feel like it's about the hesitation for this part, for the 3 of Vessels Joy card. I feel like it's about hesitation, maybe about speaking up in your true self. Because the Joy card here, I kind of see the crane in the middle as you, and these 2 as maybe your friends or whatever. It's like you... It's almost like you're hesitating about showing proud of yourself, or maybe being in charge, or maybe like being that person who speaks up. Because it feels like, at least, it feels like what your ego is saying, that if you do this, if you like speak up, if you put your foot down, or you just have a strong opinion on things or whatever it is. It's like your ego is saying that if you do this, then it will lead to, it won't lead to good things. Or that you shouldn't do that. It's like, okay. So, and for some of you, I'm kind of getting the message that some of you kind of don't see anything of value, the best way I can put it, or you're not really saying things that you really feel, or it's not like you're lying, but it's more like with the Nine of Arrows, the dedication card. If you see the arrows here, they're kind of all over the place. So I feel the message here is saying that you're just saying things that really have no impact because of this card. It's like because of this card, it feels like that as long as you hit nothing, then at least you won't hurt other people's feelings, or that you're just saying things to kind of keep the peace, which with the happiness card here, I feel like it's saying. So the generosity card in reversed, upright, I feel like it's saying that you have all these thoughts, you have all these things to offer, but in reverse, you hesitate sharing that part of yourself. But with the transition card, the more you hide yourself, the more you hesitate, the more you put things off. Or I don't think this is about putting things off, or the more you kind of like not really, express that part to move on, then you're going to be in this state of you're just going to be in this state. So I feel like it's similar to part number one. I feel like part number one was literally more about moving forward, moving on, or going in a certain direction. And I feel like for this one, this is more about your social circle, or how you interact with people around you, or how you express yourself. And the green woman, this is equivalent to the Empress card. But I feel like for this reading, this is about you finally getting that creativity, you finally taking out that power, that creativity, or whatever it is, and you're finally creating your own thing. You're not really caring about what other people think or what other people would say about what you would do. So this is for pile number 2, I believe. That even though this is a card of encouragement, that it's saying that you can get out of this energy. Ultimately, it is up to you to do so, because tarot isn't set in stone. So this is saying that this is completely possible, that you can be in this energy and shift your perspective. Okay, yep. So I open my heart to receive love more fully. So it's about being more vulnerable and expressing yourself, because I remember watching a podcast the other day by David So, and someone sent in a question about hiding their true selves and not being vulnerable, but at the same time their relationships are kind of shallow because of that. But it's kind of the self-fulfilling prophecy of not expressing your true self, but at the same time you kind of want that deep relationship. And most of the time this comes from bad experiences of doing that, or expressing your true self. But this is saying that instead of hiding yourself, that's better to express yourself, say what you want to say, of course with tact, and the right people will come along. The right people will show you the same love and support. And then we have sex. So this may not be literal for some of you, maybe it could be, Maybe for some of you this is about your sexual expression. Maybe for some of you it's about your sexual identity, your gender identity, whatever. Maybe for some of you it's about your sexuality or your sexual expression. But the deeper meaning for this one is again about expressing your true self, being vulnerable. So that was pile number 3. As usual, my reading is down below from my Instagram and my Etsy for personal readings. And as I said earlier in the video, that I have links down below for other things I mentioned, or I have links down below for donations for BIPOC communities and other ways you can help donate or help out. And I also have links to stuff I mentioned in the video as well. So that is the end of the reading, and I'll see you tomorrow on Instagram or next week.